welcome back to Stop, Look, and Listen with Samantha. Today I want to take a look at generational hand-me-downs. So when you grow up in a household, you're really spending 18 years in kind of this confined little bubble where you're growing up and trying to be a human, and you're really just watching the people around you. Okay, well, this is normal, but there's a lot of things that were kind of passed down from other generations that your family may be doing and that may not be right, but you're kind of blindly just kind of taking them on and maybe actually repeating them and passing them down blindly without really knowing it. So to kind of take a look at those things that could be passed down, I have here a list of examples. So it's very common for people that grew up in a household where there was excessive drug or alcohol use to kind of try to self-medicate from that pain and actually kind of continue that behavior on. So although they may have grown up in a household that they really didn't like the behavior and they were very hurt by the behavior, they might find themselves continuing that behavior, although it's not what they want to do. Another example is verbal abuse or punishment. So I think a lot of households have problems with communication, where people really can't stop and take the time to say their grievances. And if they do try to communicate, then they'll be punished, things will be taken away, people will be used as pawns, and that verbal abuse may even continue into physical abuse. So if you're not getting your way verbally, then we're gonna shut you up physically. Okay, and those things can have very traumatic consequences, and you may see that a child is kind of continuing on that behavior in school or after school, and it may be a result of something that they're seeing at home. So because you're in that bubble for 18 years, people may not have the confidence to get out of it, and others may be kind of observing that behavior, and stepping in and saying something on behalf of someone else can always be a tricky thing because you may be punished for it. However, it may stop a cycle and help people from, going down a worse road. Buying love. Okay, so maybe someone has a problem with showing affection. A lot of people have a problem with giving hugs or telling people that they love them verbally. So they may try to show that through purchasing things, and unknowingly you may be passing that on to the next generation, okay? Although usually when it goes through generation to generation, it's on a lesser scale, but still, even if you are kind of continuing that behavior, it's something that you might want to look at. Racism and sexism is something that is very common, something that I still see a lot of and hear a lot of in the current environment. We're seeing it all over the news now. And I think a lot of these things are done blindly. It's not the intention of the person, it's just that they grew up for so many years in that environment that they may find themselves continuing those sayings, or saying things like, oh, it's a man or a woman, or putting them down. But the reality is that no one is better than any other person. We are all equal here. And I think that it's about time that we do a better job to make sure that we're not passing those things down. So even though your kids might be in the other room and you might tell them not to listen, that doesn't change the fact that they have ears, especially when things get loud. So they will hear those things, and they may blindly continue that down to the next generation. So some of these things are really hard to stop, but I think being aware of them is the first step, and you may need to get some help from there.